Peace to the planet. Oh shit, this shit is too dark. Damn. But it's alright. Y'all don't need to see me like crazy. Peace to the planet. Peace to the planet. I'm gonna let some people get in. This is kind of like a pop-up live, so to speak. Just wanted to kind of check in and touch base with everybody. Touch base with the people, see how everything's going with everybody. Hope everybody had a great week. Um, Shout out to all the Scorpios, the Scorpio season. So shout out to all the Scorpios. It is our stingers, our season. Let your stingers loose. What I want to talk about today, or this evening rather, is I want to go into Christ consciousness. We're going to talk about Christ versus the computer. And it's not really a versus thing. It's not really about us versus them or this versus that. What I want to talk about is our perception and how our perception is being mishandled and misused, and not towards our own benefit. So when we're talking about Christ consciousness, or we're talking about growing, or we're talking about becoming great, we have to realize that this is not an easy thing. This is not something that you could just wake up and, wave a magic wand one day and say you develop Christ consciousness. Christ consciousness is not something that you're going to be able to get in books. Christ consciousness is not something that you can get on YouTube. Peace, Leslie. Christ consciousness is not something you could get on YouTube either. Christ consciousness is not something you could get in a book. Christ consciousness is not something that you could get wearing crystals. Christ consciousness is not something that you could get even having an altar. Christ consciousness is not something that you could get by paying for it or having a whole bunch of money, right? You can't buy your way into Christ consciousness. You can't thing, you can't person, you can't place, you can't thing your way into Christ consciousness. Now, when we're talking about Christ consciousness, what we're essentially talking about is channeling energy through the heart chakra. And from the heart chakra, channeling energy, frequency, and vibration from the heart chakra to the 12 cranial nerves in your brain. Those 12 cranial nerves, once they're illuminated via the energy of your heart chakra, and I'm going to get into the heart chakra in a second, and the Christ consciousness, but via the energy from your heart chakra, activating those 12 cranial nerves in your brain that really go around your face like a mask. What happens is there's a third nerve, what they call the crown of thorns, or I think it's called the colostrum or the colostrum, all right? And it is literally a crown that goes around the brain. The goal is to keep that lit every day you wake up. Right? So Christ consciousness, and peace to everybody that's coming into the building. I know I didn't announce it. I know it's late night, but shout out to y'all. Leave a comment if you want. Let me know you're in the building. Peace. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thank you. Please hit a like button if you're in the building. I appreciate it. But yeah, back to what I was saying. You can't buy your way into Christ consciousness, right? You can't book your way into Christ consciousness. You can't crystal your way into Christ consciousness. You can't herb your way into Christ consciousness. And honestly, you can't spell your way into Christ consciousness. Now, this is going to sound like sacrilegious to those in the occult, those in the spiritual community, those in the conscious community, right? Because the thing you're going to say is I'm bugging. Like, these are all the things that I've been told to use. These are all the things that I've been told to get. These are all the things that I've been told that will get me into the gateways of heaven, in the gateways of nigga heaven, right? And you will be free from bills forever, right? That's what niggas want. You'll be free from bills, free from distractions, and free for struggle forever. Just buy my book for $29.99. So people have been, the spell that's been cast over the earth is a big spell of materialism. As materialism developed from the Roman Empire, the Christian Empire, these different societies that were about rampant materialism, or the acquisition of things rather than the development of people, right? You could tell the Western society as a whole, you could tell it's not about the development of people at all. It's not about the development of people's character as a whole. It's not about the development of people's consciousness as a whole. It's not about the development of people's well-being, right? All in all, it's a do-for-self society. And by do for self, it's not even tribal. It's like you do for self, right? Capitalism will tell you to prey on your mother, right? Take advantage of her, and maybe put your hand and manipulate her hand on her will, right? So that you get more, like, just, shit that's just fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Shit that has nothing to do with bringing people together. Things that have nothing to do with raising the consciousness, or things that have nothing to do with making people even just basically feel better, right? That you're surrounded with, or just in your general vicinity, in your general cipher. So Christ consciousness and coming into Christ consciousness is not something that really Western society is about or is trying to really actively promote. In fact, Western societies, their whole agenda is to discredit, dishonor, and make it look crazy, make you seem crazy for even thinking about coming into some sort of Christ consciousness. So you have to really be careful. And the matrix is still alive and well. And the matrix that we live in currently is a matrix of fear, and it's a matrix of media. And social media, what it's done is it's taken the nightly news and put it on your cell phone. So back, let's say in the 90s, right? You could pretty much, if you wanted to avoid the news, you could avoid the news. You could pretty much avoid what's going on in mainstream society, because you didn't have the news in the palm of your hand. So you could avoid what was going on in mainstream society. You could kind of stick to books, right? You could kind of just, if you want to listen to the radio, right? But overall, you could stay away. But now you wake up in the morning, you have notifications and messages and texts telling you who got shot by the police, telling you who to vote for and who you shouldn't vote for, telling you who to be angry at and who not to be angry at, telling you who to date, right? This thing in your hand is telling you, is programming you on a day-to-day basis and in a rapid, quick fire way, right? I remember I was on my laptop. I'm on my laptop looking at I'm on my laptop looking at another laptop, upgrading and getting a better laptop, right? And I go on Instagram, and the same laptop, after like 2 people, that same laptop popped up. That same laptop popped up as an ad. And I wasn't even on my phone. I was on my laptop, looking at the laptop. And then they had the same ad for the laptop that I didn't buy on my phone, scrolling through Instagram. So the whole thing is not about Christ consciousness. And Christ consciousness is not some pussy shit where you are some turn the other cheek, vegan, don't fight back, only resort to spells, don't stand up for yourself, play victim. Christ consciousness has nothing to do with that. See, people think that Yeshua, or the story of Yeshua, if you believe it's a story, or if you just think that it's 33 vertebrae, right, in your body and the activation of it, that story itself, the mythos of Christ, is still powerful, because the mythos of Christ is ultimately about transformation. And the Christ into it, that is you. And I'll get into the Christ that is you. The cross is really your brain. The cross is your brain. The cross, right? So you have in the middle of your brain, called the corpus callosum, which is right here, separates the brain from the left and right hemisphere. Your left and right your left hemisphere is the peace to everybody in the building, peace to dream, peace to life is, peace to EB. So your left brain is the this side of the cross. Your right brain is this side of the cross, and the middle part of the cross is your corpus callosum. So this is the activation of the left and right brain. So that is the cross. So ultimately, activating that is an act of war against Western society. So Jesus dying on the cross is essentially, or Yeshua dying on the cross is essentially you dying to the things of this world, you dying to your attachment to this world. You, as Dreamwise talks about, going back into the chaos or going back into your inner darkness, going back into your inner self, journeying into outer space. As I've told you guys before, outer space, when you go to sleep, you astral travel, right? It's literally called astral traveling. So the astral world is what? Outer space. They're called asteroids in outer space, right? So you astral travel when you sleep. There are people who, when they sleep, what they're doing is they're going into the multiverse. And when they're sleeping, going through the multiverse, they come back from the multiverse and they have scratches and cuts and different abrasions from being in the multiverse, from being in their alternate life or in their alternate body in the multiverse. If you watch Lovecraft Country, right? Hippolyta, with the universe on her waist, Orinthia Blue, was about traveling into the multiverse. Also, Christ consciousness was about the Kemetic Ptah. If you look at Ptah, I didn't want to do the slides and everything, but you could look this up on Google even while I'm talking. If you look at the deity Ptah, P-T-A-H, Ptah's crown was always bluish purple on the top of his head. If you look at Ptah, which is where they got the Oscar, the statue of the Oscar, holding the staff with the Djed pillar, which is a coiled pillar, right? Which also represents the back of your brain, right? Being activated, and your spinal column, that Djed pillar from Kemet. So the cross, going back to the cross. So when you sleep, now you know you're going into outer space, you're astral traveling. And sometimes you go through the multiverse, or sometimes you go straight to the nebula. And what do I mean by going into the nebula? They have, when a star is born, a star, yeah, I'm going in tonight. Shout out to everybody in the building. When a star is born, a star turns into what they call a nebula. And you can look up these nebulas on Google. They are in all different beautiful shapes. There's crabs, and horses and things that look like tubes and black holes, all type of different nebulas, right? Nebulas are created when a star dies, but also when a star is formed. And what are you? You are ultimately stardust. So when they say ashes to ashes, dust to dust, no. This is how you're going to reprogram yourself. Instead of ashes to ashes, dust to dust, it's ashes to ashes, which is your physical flesh. This avatar body turns into ash, and stardust to stardust. So ashes to ashes, stardust to stardust. That's the new mantra. Ashes to ashes, stardust to stardust. So you're going back into stardust. Every nigga is a star. Okay? Shout out to y'all in the building. Don't forget to program the water. Peace to the ancestors. Shout out to everybody for the donation. Shout out to everybody for the birthday love. So you go back to stardust. So ashes to ashes, stardust to stardust. So when you sleep, everybody has a nebula up in the sky. So when you look up and see the stars, there's a nebula for you. Remember, when we're seeing the light from the stars, that's millions of light years away, right? So they say the last spark of the star, you're actually seeing 7 minutes of the last spark of whatever star that is. Crazy, right? Perspective. We think that's just flickering for us. That's just like dying almost. So that's how we're able to see it. Remember, the chief color in the universe is darkness, dark matter or dark energy. So going back to, so now, when you sleep, you go into that nebula, you go into that nebula form, and that nebula is going to eventually become a star when you go through the day of judgment. was the date of judgment is basically the weighing of the scale. If you saw what's that show on Stars? Shit, I forgot the name. What's the show on Stars with the moon dude? Somebody put in the chat. What's the name of our homie on Stars? The moon guy. That show. Damn, I can see it right now. I can see him right now. I just can't remember the name. This shows you how dope your imagination is and how it precedes even words. How the visions you have precede words. Because I can see everything, but I just can't remember the name. Thank you, Dawn. American Gods. So American Gods, Shadow Moon, thank you. So in American Gods, right, they showed you the weighing of the scale, which is Ma'at and Kemet. They showed you the weighing of scales. Ma'at also corresponds to Tiferet. Tiferet, peace. Thank you, Dreamwise. Appreciate it. Thank you for the donation. That's dope. First one ever. Thank you, my brother. And so, hold on, let me go back. American Gods. Oh, so the scale, so the Ma'at. So Ma'at is also Tiamat. No, I'm sorry. Ma'at is there's Lakshmi. Ma'at is also Lakshmi in the Kush tradition. So that's why Lakshmi also has scales, but they show Lakshmi as just being the abundance deity, the deity of corn, the deity of abundance, but also living in Ma'at, living in balance, living in equality, living in not a left-hand path, not a right-hand path, but a middle path. When you balance the heart and the scale, gives you that balance. The heart, left brain, right? The feather, right brain, because your right brain deals with your imagination, it deals with your emotions. These are things that are not really tangible. You can't see your emotions, but you can feel them, right? You can't see your imagination, but you can feel your imagination when you're imagining certain things, right? So these things are the activation of the left and right brain. So you are activating that cross in your head. Remember, corpus callosum, left brain, right brain. So the scale of my heart, feather, heart is the left brain. That left brain is in charge of how you act outwardly. It deals with math, it deals with logic, it deals with external things, right? Logic is external. Logic is, okay, if I see a car speeding down the street, I'm not gonna fucking cross, right? That's logic, because you know you're gonna die. That's a left brain decision. Now your imagination is gonna put you in cartoon mode. Oh, I could go across the street and get hit like Bugs Bunny and bounce back up. That's the right brain. So the right brain is the feather. The left brain is the heart. So, and also Lakshmi. So living in balance, living in those things when you're charging up your heart with a certain amount of energy, the energy is really designed to make you lighthearted or light as a feather or pure of heart. The heart also has more neurons going to the brain than the brain has going to the heart. This is why the Phoenicians preserved the brain, right? They preserved the brain in the jar, but even though they preserved the brain in the jar, the heart, no, I'm sorry, they pulled the brain out, but they preserved the heart. The heart was the most valuable. They pulled the brain out through the nose, but the heart was preserved in the jar. The heart was considered the most valuable thing to have. They also talk about cannibalism, of them eating the heart of people to gain power, right? It was ritualistic. The reason that the cannibalism, or they would eat the blood or eat the heart of a competitor or someone that they were going to war with, or even animals, right? There's still people who eat lion hearts and things like that. It's believed that you are able to take in the power of that particular animal or the power of that particular person, and preferably bloody. It's also the science of people, if you like bloody steak, that's where that comes from. It's in your genetics, it's in your gene pool to like that, to crave that. And it's because blood is highly magnetic. Blood is full of what? Iron. And iron is also full of, blood is full of iron, and blood is full of plasma. Plasma, pata, plasma, praya. Pata, plasma. See, so all these things are things that deal with the invisible. Plasma, there's something called gravitational plasma. Gravitational plasma basically holds the whole universe together. So plasma and pata, if you look at the universe, every scientist will tell you it started from hydrogen atoms. So hydrogen is basically like the water of the universe. Hydrogen, right? But hydra is also tentacles, right? A hydra, hail hydra, right? Many tentacles, right? We saw that in the Marvel universe. So what you're trying to do is tap into that hydra, that hydrogen, that is you, right? That is that Ptah energy, right? Ptah Pater, in the, I know I'm going along, but follow me if you can. I know I'm going different places, but it's going to be Christ consciousness, still Christ consciousness versus the computer, right? My mind, I'm just channeling different things. So gaining this particular, so again, what you're trying to do is activate the 12 cranial nerves, face, head, chrome, dome, right? But mainly activate that 13th nerve, that crown of thorns that is in your brain. That's basically what you're trying to do with this whole thing. And again, you can't buy that. The way you earn that is three main ways to change your behavior. From the age of 7, what scientists say is that before 7, your brain is in theta mode, theta waves. Theta waves are receptive waves. So theta waves are waves of hypnosis. They're what's able for you to use your imagination. That's why kids' imaginations are beautiful. When you're under the age of 7, your imagination is super blossom because you're in primarily theta wave, which is a hypnotic and imaginative wave. And the reason it's hypnotic is so that you can learn how to walk from your mommy and daddy. You can learn how to talk from your mommy and daddy. You can learn how to survive from your mommy and daddy. So naturally, your brain is in that state primarily, right? But you could also hack that state while you are here living and breathing, right? And you don't need anything to do this. You just need to be diligent, right? So one of the keys is repetition. Doing something over and over and over and over and over and over again is one way to hack into that wave from when you were 7 years old again. Repetition. The second way is trauma, right? Now there's different type of trauma. There's trauma that affects you in a positive way. There's trauma that affects you in a negative way. For instance, when you're going through ritual, right? There's certain ritual where you'll get hit, right? Where you might get hit with something, or you might have to go through a certain degree or a certain challenge, right? Like in Masonic rituals, for example, there are parts of Masonic rituals that aren't necessarily pleasant, right? Being put in a coffin, but all these things are designed to change and transform you. So going through a certain type of trauma can change you and transform you, aka 50 Cent. Get rich or die trying. He got shot 9 times, boom, the trauma changed him, and now he's on the pace to becoming a billionaire, right? Multimedia mogul and entertainer. So sometimes trauma can make people react differently, right? Sometimes that same 9 shots could make you go into a shell and not want to come out anymore, not want to interact with people, have anxiety every place, be super scared wherever you go, which I'm sure are emotions that he has experienced. But in the process of that, it still changed him, and it still motivated him. But somebody else, it might have brought them further back in life. So coming into this way of life and becoming Christ conscious is about hacking into repetition. Three main ways you change: repetition, trauma, and hypnosis. Repetition, trauma, and hypnosis. Those 3 things: repetition, trauma, and hypnosis, are how you hack into the mind. So that is really the Holy Trinity, right? And repetition is primarily the heart chakra, that heart on the scale. That heart chakra is how you connect to everything. It is what beats. If your brain is dead, your heart is still going to pump. Your heart will still pump even if your brain is dead. That heart chakra will continue to pump. So it will magnetize symbols to the correct. It will continue to magnetize and bring in energy no matter what. That's why people wake up out of comas, you know, because there is still a level of willing that you have to do even in the underworld. Because when you're in a coma, you're primarily in the nebula. You're in the underworld. You're astral traveling. You're not in your physical body. Because if you were in your physical body, why didn't you wake up? You have to come back to your physical body to wake up. There's a good story about a coma written by this book called Brother G. It's like a Lord of the Rings type of story, but it's highly melanated. I highly recommend it if you just want to read a good story that has spirituality into it, has signs, symbols, decoding creatures, all type of things. This book by Brother G, he has a series, it's a 3-part series called Memnon the Hunter. Very good book. I can't wait till somebody picks that up and makes it into a movie because it's gonna blow up like on some Black Panther shit. It's like that good and it's easy to read. But so activating, pulling this energy into the heart chakra, right? You're tapping into this Hydra energy. You're tapping into the energy of dark matter. You're tapping into the energy of the universe. But that is a choice that you have to make. That's a daily choice that you have to make. Now you have work, you have kids, you have school, you have bills, you have whatever health things you have going on, right? There's a lot of things going on in your life. So you're not able to, everybody doesn't have time to sit down and decode movies. Everybody doesn't have time to sit back and read a billion books. Everybody doesn't have time to, even go or can afford or even, go to rituals and go to, retreats and things like that, right? And buy all these supplies. But you can train your mind. You can find time in the morning when you wake up. You could find 15 minutes in the morning and you could find 15 minutes at night before you go to bed to reprogram yourself, to set programs and write out intentions and write out ideas and visualize and really feel your visualization, because you're trying to engage into that heart chakra and you're trying to engage into that dark world, that multiverse that you go into when you sleep. You're trying to engage in that world. You're trying to tap into that world. So the way you do that is by hacking into that same theta wave state that is 15 minutes before you go to bed and 15 minutes before you wake up. Now, the add-ons are the books. The add-ons are the signs and symbols. The add-ons are the candles. Now, of course, you always want to honor your ancestors because you're honoring that dark matter. You're honoring your bloodline. You're honoring that hydrogen. You're honoring the magnetic core. You're honoring that blood plasma, which is Ptah, which gravitational plasma, again, if you look up, is the source of every plasma, makes up 99.9% of the planet. That's not talked about as much as dark matter and dark energy, right? What we call our blood plasma. And what are we mostly made up of? We're mostly made up of water, right? You see different numbers on the internet. Some say 85, some say 75, some say 68, right? But whatever they tell us is probably more because they don't want us to know. H2O, right? Hydrogen and oxygen. We breathe in oxygen here on Earth, but the universe is mostly made of hydrogen. So we are dealing with waves, brain waves, light waves, sound waves. Brain waves, light waves, and sound waves. That's primarily what we're dealing with, which is also another form of what? Water. Hydrogen. Hydra. Ptah. Sound correlation, right? Tonal language, which is the indigenous melanated language, our tonal languages. So why is it versus the computer? It's not really versus the computer as much as being on guard against the computer and being on guard against the manipulation of knowledge. Be on guard against thinking that because you have a certain set of knowledge, or because you have a certain set of information, or because you study certain things, that you're better than someone, that you're greater than someone else, that you're much more holy, or you're much more enlightened. Because on your path, You were once them, and they were once you. So the person that you're really hating on is your reflection. That also is your hydra. That's your plasma. That's your attachment. That's your hydrogen. That's your brain wave. That's your sound wave. That's your light wave. That's your pata, water. You get it? Now, what I'm talking about with that is you have to study Memphite, the Memphite theology. Memphite theology was found on the Shabaka stone in 700. And the Memphite theology states that out of the waters of Amenta, right, came a mound. That mound was Ptah. So you see Hood Mystic and, a lot of brothers. He's the first person I heard talk about the mounds, but now a lot of people talking about mounds, but mounds that are in America, these mounds being ancient spiritual sites, these mounds being pyramids, these mounds being centers of where you could channel energy, centers that you stand on that literally channel energy on the earth, the ley lines, right? Energy centers. So the Memphite theology that was found on the Shabaka stone in 700, that was in a tomb, that's one of the tombs of Saqqara, I believe, in Kemet. It stated that out of the waters of Amenta, and I'm sure you guys that are conscious in the community have heard about Amenta, but Amenta is basically everything, the universe, right? The darkness, dark energy, dark matter in the universe. So from the waters of Amenta came this mound, and the mound was Ptah, Wata, right? We're made of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, and sulfur, primarily, right? And this, even if you listen to a scientist talk about the Big Bang, they're going to tell you that hydrogen was first. So when we listen to Panic and he's talking about what happens when you die, right? He's talking about going from human into basically a subatomic particle, which is literally what you going into a subatomic state, but you're basically riding a wave. Because when we talk about Kundalini energy, what does it look like? A snake. If you put your brain on the EKG or EEG, you're going to see waves, right? Your heart, you're going to see heartbeat. You're going to see waves on the machine. So we're dealing with a flow state. So the flow state is something that has to be done repetitiously. You have to repetitiously generate this energy frequency. And the only way you could do this is through the heart chakra. This is why they say if someone's depressed or you're down, get up out of bed. You know what I'm saying? Find a reason to get up out of bed. Don't just lay in bed, because you need to generate energy. You need a reason to be inspired. Kundalini is that golden state, is a wave formation. Okay, what is DNA? DNA goes like this, right? Ida and Pingala, right? Pineal gland. DNA goes like this as well. Two snakes intertwining, right? What do you have? What are your two snakes? Your left brain and your right brain is attached to those 12 cranial nerves. So, back to the Memphite theology. So, Amenta, out of the waters of Amenta, or the waters of Nu, right? Or the darkness of the universe, to make it simple, came a mound. The mound was Ptah. So the Memphite theology states that out of the mouth of Ptah, Ptah was considered the ultimate creator, right? The creator of everything. And let's see, Ptah in the Kabbalah would also be considered your Binah. On the Kabbalistic tree of life, it would be considered your Binah. And also Kali, because Kali is basically source energy, Kundalini energy, high frequency energy, high powered energy. So all this whole game, and again, I try to keep the occult and magic as simple as possible, because it shouldn't be this hard, right? It's not as hard as people make it out to be, where you need a superhuman amount of things and you need to be this superhuman person to tap in. You just have to make everyday decisions to tap in, and you have to literally devote 15 to 20 minutes of your day to tapping in. That's it. And if you do that on a repetitious basis, what it's going to do is you're going to magnetically, through that hydra, that hydrogen, that water, that wave function, you're going to magnetically, through the heart, attract things to you. You're going to attract things to you. You're going to attract people to you. You're going to attract opportunities to you. But this doesn't mean that you're going to have a stress-free life. This doesn't mean that you're going to have a stress-free life. If you say the Kabbalion, there's a law of rhythm. There's going to be ups and downs. But part of Christ consciousness, or developing Christ consciousness, or bearing your cross, is dying to the things of the world. So even your outer stresses are things that you shouldn't be worried about. You should be worried about the plan to get out of the situation, or the plan to get out of the circumstance. Again, heart chakra, dealing with the conscious mind, dealing with the Father that is in heaven, which is your frontal lobe activated. That is the Father. That's your frontal lobe activated. The Sun is your heart, or your heart chakra, the energy that you generate, your sun, or your soul, SOL, which is your sun, your solar. Who are you? Solar, your solar, right? So your soul and the Holy Spirit, which is your gut, the fuel that you take in. Your gut is what responds to emotions. If a tiger jumps right out from me, right? And some of you saw the last live heard me say this, but if a tiger jumped out at me, the response is going to be physically through my gut, through my abdomen, or my abdomen. The ab in Kemet was called the heart. So the response is going to be through my abdomen, which is where you are supposed to be meditating from your abdomen, right? So for a meditation class, I'll teach you how to meditate properly. So you're breathing from the abdomen, or the abdomen, because remember, the heart has more neural endings to the brain than the brain has to the heart. The heart has more neural pathways of thought, neural pathways. Your brain connects through neurons. It's like tree branches, but figure when you have a thought, and you have a thought repetitiously, just think of, you say, I am a God, I am a God, I am a God, I am a God, I am a God. This is what happens to the brain. And then imagine these two hands just firing off energy consistently. And the more you think these type of thoughts, you're connecting neurons. So what science says, not Rob Blackstorm, this is verifiable science, and also known by our ancestors, by the way, prior to this. And when I talk about Kemet, I'm not just talking about one place in Africa. I'm talking about the whole Nile Valley region, from the Congo up to Temeri, right? Because some people think, oh, I'm not the typical Cometian that's out there, or just followers of Kemet, and no. I'm talking about the whole Nile Valley region, from the Congo up to Egypt, even in the Sudan, which is what they call Sudan, but which is what was called Temeri, but they now call it Sudan. Or Nubia, I'm sorry. Nubia, what they call Nubia. What they call the Sudan, which was once Nubia. So the Sudan was once Nubia. So when you speak about Nubians, you're speaking about people that are actually from the Sudan. So all that is Cometian. All that is Kemet just married the magic and married the left brain and the right brain. That's all they did. So they figured out how the left brain worked, they figured out how the right brain worked, and they figured out how to tap into, by using magic and science, right? They figured out how to tap into spiritual power, how to harness this energy, or this hydro energy, or this dark matter energy, or this energy of Ta, right? And what they realized is that we're all, I know I'm going all over the place, but follow me. What they realized is that we're all atoms at the end of the day, right? So we're all atoms, and atoms going through cellular division. But that's another story. But this energy is something that you have to make a daily decision to harness, a daily decision to practice. And once you start, then you start getting more and more, you start being attracted to more and more things. So then you start getting attracted to the books, you start reading more, then you start figuring out, okay, I'm going to put this on my altar, I'm going to learn more about my ancestors. Then you start reading and studying, then you start, right, start doing spell work for yourself. You start seeing things manifest, right? Some of us are there, some of us are not there, right? Just talking to everybody. And then you start building little and little and little and little more. But ultimately, it starts with you, with nothing but these two hands, these 2 feet, and this brain saying, as I wake up on a day-to-day basis, I am going to be God. And I am going to find things that show me that I am God. And I'm going to take two of the most primary points of each day to program this, which is the first 15 minutes of the day and the last 15 minutes of the day. You've heard me say this before, right? And what that'll do is during the day, and even if you're not going to meditate one of those times of the day, I'm not saying you have to meditate, but at least that last 15 minutes of the day, make sure you watch something that is going to inspire you, or that is going to spark some positive thought, or that is going to generate a certain amount of energy. And the same thing in the morning. Make sure you're doing that, programming yourself in the morning, charging up your day, creating your reality. So this way, as you go through the day and you experience different bumps in the road, it doesn't distract you from who you are, which is really, you are at the end of the day, peace. You are peace. You are amenta. You are amen, the same thing that you said at the end of your Christian prayers. That's really your perfect state of mind, no matter what you're going through, no matter what external hardship. Now, if you know, and I said this in my Instagram video today, but you know, if you lose a loved one, you're not going to be happy, right? I'm not going to tell you to be happy, you know what I'm saying? And you may be grieving and stuff like that, right? But you can't be at peace at your loved one transition. You can't be at peace that this person is in a better place. It can't help you to cope with it better. And being at peace will help you look for finding solutions, whether that's therapy, whether that's talking to somebody, et cetera, whether that is meditating, whether that is doing a ritual. Peace will help you do that. But if you're stuck in just the grief, or if you lose your job, or if you lose something external, right? Or if you lose something physical, or even if you have a health situation, right? And you feed into the energy, because remember, this is your responsibility. No one, my heart and your heart, we all have different hearts. What connects us though is air, oxygen, H, hydrogen, 2O, and oxygen we get from trees. So that's our connection to the earth. But the hydrogen is universal, pretty much. Actually, hydrogen is universal, so all over the universe, right? But not necessarily every planet and in space doesn't have oxygen. So think about that. So hydrogen is more important. So tapping in, so you could tap into that particular energy at any time, but you have to decide that you want to connect. You have to make a decision, and the computer is trying to make decisions for you. The computer right now, eventually we're going to come into the world of AI, where things transform, where there's going to be transhumanism, half man, half machine. Virtual reality is about to take over, you know, where people are going to be locked into wearing, you know, there a different type of mask over their eyes, caught in virtual reality. That's what's coming up, future 2022, you know. With the change that's happening in December, with what's going on with December 21st to the 24th, with what's happening astrologically, with the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction at the 0-degree mark. We may actually see aliens where, you know, we may actually see other universes where they may even try to stage an alien attack, right? They try to keep us in the house. You know, there's different scenarios, different lockdown protocols, war, right? So there's different things that may be happening. So at this point, it's really advantageous for you to figure out, what are you being distracted by? And by distraction, I don't mean if you know, watch a movie that's silly, or, you know, do something that's, you know, that you enjoy. You know, like I like basketball, I like watching movies, I like funny movies, you know, I like a drink, I like to smoke here and there, you know, things like that. But the main focus is your divinity. The main focus is your Christhood. The main focus is getting your crown of thorns, right? Is getting your crown of thorns, getting that corpus callosum and those 12 cranial nerves that are in your face, literally, that are pumped through the neural pathway that is connecting, as I showed you earlier, your neurons, that neural pathway from your heart to your brain, pumping energy on a consistent basis that is for your benefit. You tapping into the dark matter that is you for your own benefit, for your own growth. And through that, being that is the heart chakra that we now know, beyond the pineal gland, beyond the hippocampus, beyond the brain, the heart has more neural connections. So you want to figure out what it is, what is your passion? What is it that stirs you? What is it that makes you get up in the morning? What is it that makes you feel alive? Even if you're depressed, even if you're stressed out, there's something. There's a reason that your sperm hit the egg. There's a reason that you woke up today. There's a reason that you're still alive. So what is your passion? And some of y'all have to figure out what is it that you're hiding from? And who is it that you're hiding from? And who is it that you're afraid to be in front of other people? And who is it that you're afraid to show yourself to? And also, some of you want to show yourself too much to other people and show yourself too much to display that you are great to other people, when you just need to be great for yourself, and other people will recognize you for that. Other people will recognize you for that. Now, people who know me in real life, they know how to dress. They know I never look dusty. In fact, never look dusty. I'm always looking nice. I always look clean. I'm always presentable. You know what I'm saying? And I would consider myself fly. You know what I'm saying? On many more than one occasion when I step out. Now, I say all that to say is I don't spend a whole bunch of money on clothes. If anything, my money will go to shoes. You know what I'm saying? Even that I curtail. But I don't spend a lot of money on clothes. I love the Macy's clearance rack. You know what I'm saying? I love Marshalls. If I find some flash at a TJ Maxx, I'll wear it, right? And I'll put a couple pieces together. Now, every once in a while, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I got Louis Vuitton bags and shit like that. You know, I'll splurge on something here and there. You know what I'm saying? Maybe a belt here and there. But those things are very, very rare. You know what I'm saying? And that I have to be very, very up for me to do that. And we have to realize that we're being programmed, even in that, even in buying clothing. A lot of people are being programmed through playing video games. A lot of men are being programmed to think that they're really achieving and moving life forward when they complete a video game or when they beat people in video games. I was stuck in video game mode for a couple of years where I was in a trance, a video game spell, right? Wasn't reading, wasn't studying, wasn't focused on, just wanted to play NBA 2K and Madden. That's it, NBA 2K and Madden. That was my shit. I was still righteous, so to speak. I don't want to say righteous because that's like one half of me, but on my path, right? And doing my thing, but I was more focused on my attention. My heart chakra was more focused on the video game, you know what I'm saying, than anything. Now you have times when, even engaging in Christ consciousness, when you are in survival mode and you have to do things that are not, or more so left-hand path. It's about survival. Left-hand path is like survival. Left-hand path is going for yours, going to get it. Left-hand path is the hustler energy. It's not about imagination. It's not about fate. It's not about visualization. It's about, okay, I need a cell phone. I tangibly have a cell phone. Not that I imagine it. You know what I'm saying? That I tangibly have it. So damn, I lost my thought. Shit. It was a good one too. But basically, putting forth that left hand energy also taps into, again, it's corresponding to that heart energy. Even if you look at like Heru, he's 9 out of 10 focused to the left, because it deals with that's that heart energy, that heart chakra energy, that falcon energy, that flying above it all, that seeing things from a bird's eye view, and being at peace, and being at peace. Because the goal of generating this energy is that no matter what you go through, you're able to visualize a new reality by tapping into your darkness, your inner darkness, by tapping into that dark matter that's in you, by going to outer space, which is inner space. So inner space is outer space. By going, if you were with me earlier, rewind this, but going into the nebula, right? Going into the star that you can become if you live this life right as a melanated being. Because if you are, and I know many people are watching this, different creeds and colors, but if you're a melanated being in this life, in this avatar body, because remember, this is an avatar body. It's an avatar body, right? You came from a sperm cell, my nigga. You was not black, white, purple, green, orange, or yellow. You came from a white sperm cell from your daddy's nuts, okay? And before that, you was something entirely different that had no race, creed, color, or nationality. So in this avatar body, if you are born melanated, then this is your, basically the universe is telling you it's your time to come home. It's your time to become a star. High melanated, low melanated. If you are melanated, it's basically because you have the ability to become a star. That's why you are matched with darkness. That's why you are matched with dark matter. It takes darkness, you know? It takes darkness to create light. There is no light without the foundation of darkness. So everything, this is why the mound was Ptah, but it rose out of Amenta, because Amen is darkness. When you are asleep, that's darkness, but you're at peace, right? When you're asleep, I mean, unless you're having a nightmare or whatever, you've astral traveled to a different dimension and you might be having a nightmare or really experiencing someone else's reality, or you're being haunted here on this earth, right? And being tormented by inner visions, what you might call demons, right? Or angels, which are really just ancestors. A demon is really just an ancestor that's fucking with you, and an angel is really an ancestor that's fucking with you. All right, please hit the like button if you are in here. Thank you, shout out, thank you for taking your time with me. So angels are angles of light. Angels are access through angles of light. Demons are access through angles of light, right? Now, people, you know, there's people we in the spiritual path do work with demons, so-called the left-hand path, right? With the Lesser Key of Solomon and things like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not going to say I've never done that. I've never had success doing that. And, you know, however, there are, what I found is that I could do the same thing. What I found is that I could do the same thing mentally, that I was putting that external power into, right? But even working with angels, the same thing with Raziel and Michael and things like that. You know, I discovered that I could do the same thing myself. And this is not to say that I don't use tools or, you know, things like that. I definitely have an altar because I always want to pay homage to my ancestors, which are my bloodline, which is in my blood plasma. But I also don't want to, what if I am in a cell and I don't have access to a candle? I don't have access to a pentacle. I don't have access to a crystal. I don't have access to fancy garb and things like that. Am I still God? Am I still able to create a reality? Am I still able to channel enough energy to get me out of the situation, to help me to survive the situation, to help me think through the situation, to help me maintain my sanity in the situation without the tool? But I know when I wake up 15 minutes, I can hack my brain, even if I'm in a dungeon starving. I know at the last, before I go to bed, I could do the same thing and continue doing it, right? And I know eventually this process is going to yield results. Why? Because I've tapped into the inner darkness of myself. I've literally astral traveled just like Hippolyta did in Lovecraft Country and tapped into the cosmos, which is what you do when you sleep, which is what you do when you meditate, and which is what you're trying to do when you are casting spells. What you are trying to do when you are engaged in ritual that has dance and chanting and liveliness to it. You're trying to harness the energy of the cosmos. You're trying to go into the whole purpose of a ritual is to generate so much energy. Again, heart chakra, so much energy, heart chakra, brain, so much energy that you're able to go into an ecstatic, what they call an ecstatic trance. And in this trance state, you are actually engaged with outer space. Yes, the same outer space that you see up there. You are engaged with outer space when you go into a trance. When you are daydreaming, you are in outer space. We call it the I Magi Nation. I Magic Nation. What is your nation if not the universe? If you're a god, the whole universe is yours. Not just the solar system, not just the world, but the universe is yours. If you truly believe that you are God. If you are truly tapped into the chaos that created the universal order. If you're truly tapped into that Set energy. Set was the original deity before Osir, or Set was the original deity that was worshipped before Osiris or Osir. It was Set. Set was the man. The reason Set was the man is because Set corresponded to the waters of Amenta. Set, it's not moving. When things are set, they're not moving, right? It's set. It's staying there. You set the plate, you put in that plate there, right? So Set is dealing with the unmoving mover. It's dealing with the waters of Amenta. It's dealing with peace. And then before Set, then came Osir, which dealt with but still deals with Ptah. It's still Ptah energy, right? But there's Ptah Amen. The Cometians had different attachments depending on what the usage of the deities were. So if you use let's say they would do like, just to give you a Christian example, they would do like Jesus, Holy Spirit would be a deity, right? But one deity would be Holy Spirit, God, so they would, set clock, exactly. So it's dealing with that unmovable mover, right? When things are set, you know that there is still, because the Kabbalion tells us that there's a law of vibration. 7 Hermetic laws in the Kabbalion tell you that there's a law of vibration. So everything is moving. Even when you're sleeping, everything is moving. So rising out of that mound that was Ptah, or this back to the Memphite theology, that mound that was Ptah, on top of that, there was Atum or Atum, right? What they would call the sun in the reign of Akhenaten, they would call it the Aten, which is the same as Atum or Atum or exactly. So, let me drink some water. Y'all still with me? I know it's late. I know it's late. But shout out to y'all for hanging with me. So, as an electromagnetic being, which is what I preach, and again, I try to make this as simple as possible. The goal is to harness here. The goal is to harness here, but here. This is why your feelings are more important than anything else in the world. How you feel is more important than anything else in the world. Your feelings can control your brain. Your feelings control your body. What happens when you're stressed out is this. When you're stressed out, you go into a fight or flight mode. Your body goes into fight or flight. There's rest and digest, and there's fight or flight. So when you're stressed out, you shut down your immune system. That's first and foremost. Your body shuts down the immune system. The reason it shuts down the immune system is if you're running from a bear, right? If you're running from a motherfucking bear, you don't need to be fighting off a cold, right? You don't need to be worried about, you know what I'm saying? healing the cut that's on your arm. So the blood goes to your arms and hands for you to run or protect yourself, right? Your IQ even drops drastically. I think it drops like 60 to 70%, like drastic drop, because it's not for that. It's not for logic. It's not for reasoning. It's not for decision making. It's for you being emotional, you being defenseless, you being defensive. Now imagine you feeling the same stress from watching Donald Trump or watching CNN all day. Every CNN all day, and you're seeing stressful images each and every day. Imagine you're on your social media feed every day, 7 days a week, even if you spend 20 minutes and you're scrolling through social media, and the majority of people that you're scrolling through are negative. Abdomen, feeling, right? It's subconscious. You don't really see it. You don't really think about your abdomen being twitched. Next time you see somebody that you like, notice how you like or you lust for. Notice how your breathing changes. Notice how you tense up and your back straightens up a little bit. Like, notice if you dislike, how you dislike something, how the same thing happens. You tense up, right? And your stomach goes in. So what it is that feeling generated through the heart chakra. It informs your brain. Your brain generates images and feelings, which goes through the amygdala, which basically gathers that feeling. And I'm sorry, actually, it goes through the hippocampus. The hippocampus remembers, and then it sends that feeling through the amygdala. Well, no, I'm sorry. Anyway, I got that wrong. Your heart takes the energy, goes through the neural pathways, right? The 13 cranial nerves activates, right? Your amygdala. Your amygdala says this is good, this is bad. Amygdala is Greek for almond. The amygdala in your brain. It's right in front of your pineal gland. So it says this is good, this is bad. Your amygdala then registers that to the hippocampus. The hippocampus remembers if it's good or bad. Trump's bad. Hippocampus remembers Trump is bad. Now it sends hormones through the brain. So it's either cortisol or hormones that tell your body to rest and digest, and so forth and so on, right? So this is fuel. This is fuel now through your heart. You sending hormones, shit's moving around through your body, right? Flood Trump, stress, you know what I'm saying? Bill, stress, this, that, stress, you know what I'm saying? Cop shot, Breonna Taylor, stress, you know, what's other stress they got out there? The celebrities are raping all the kids, stress, right? You know, oh, everyone is a clone, stress, you know what I'm saying? This person's an agent, that person's an agent, stress. Oh, I'm woke, but these people ain't woke, stress. Why nobody else is as woke as me? Stress, right? So you're sending all these hormones swimming through the hydro, swimming through the plasma, swimming through the blood plasma, sending cortisol through the body, flooding the body with cortisol. This is when you're stressed. Now, when you're rest and digest, it is different, right? You're pumping happy hormones, good hormones, hormones for growth. When you watch Rob Blackstorm, right, for instance, hopefully that's what happens. You're pumping good hormones, hormones where you feel good, hormones where you feel inspired, hormones where you want to engage in things that make you great or make you better. You want to engage in your passion, your low cortisol, right? You want to engage that heart chakra because now you know that's really how you build in the brain. Another scientific fact, working out, which I always tell y'all. Now, caveat, y'all can listen to Bobby Hemmett all you want to, where he talks about diet and eating everything and transmuting it. Bobby Hemmett didn't have the best health. That's all I'm saying. I love Bobby. There's no disrespect, but his health wasn't the best. You want to stay here as long as possible and be able to care and take care of your family as long as possible. That's just my philosophy. The body is a temple. That's what every holy book ever written ever told me. So my job is to take care of it. Do I eat bullshit every once in a while? Of course. Everything in balance. I'm on a scale just like y'all, right? But do I tend to do things more, leaning towards the side that are going to be healthy and take care of my body for the long run, so I could keep looking better than these niggas and not look dusty? Absolutely. You know, that's why I still look younger than a lot of dudes my age right now. And this is not to brag. This is just the work that I put in. Anybody could put in this type of work to look young, even while you're still young. Some of y'all are very young now that'll follow me. It's late night, you know what I'm saying? So I know a lot of young people are watching this now. So you could do the same thing by tapping in, by engaging in food and a diet that deals with greens every once in a while, deals with lean fishes, even if you're doing poultry, lean poultries and stuff like that. A lot of y'all got very expensive taste, but not for things that you put in your body. People will take care of their car way better than they take care of their body. How that makes sense? When I got to drive this shit around way more than I do my car. People will make sure their house is much more pretty and put the worst type of, most toxic shit in their body. Tell me how that makes sense. Tell me how it makes sense to have a bookshelf full of the greatest books in the world, but your body looks like shit. When somebody sees you, they can't even go in the bathroom behind you because your shit smells so bad. You ever been behind somebody, their shit smells so bad? Like, you've been at the job, whatever, you go to the stores, and they shit smells so bad. You're like, what the fuck was that motherfucker eating? And everybody shit stink, but some shit stinks worse than it could ever stink, right? That's diet. That's what gets you in the hospital. I used to work in the hospital. Ain't nothing worse than seeing a fly motherfucker in the hospital. Okay? Ain't nothing worse than seeing a fly motherfucker in the hospital. And they're about to die. And they got all the material goods in the world. They can't save them. And they're stressed out. And sometimes people don't even come to see them. You being there as the worker or the person that's talking to them and consoling them and trying to encourage them or whatever. And some people don't even, and most people don't even do that. That's the shit I used to do. So the more you engage in hacking in to these data waves, the more you engage into those waves when you were 7 years old, those two things will bring you closer to Christ consciousness. And it'll bring you closer to wanting to gather information, wanting to actually read the books that you buy. I know a lot of people, like, they got a whole bunch of books and they ain't reading shit. It just looks good on the bookshelf. So I encourage you to read and actually study. And then you start doing more work. You start engaging in more ritual work. You start engaging in more videos and stuff like that. You start watching more speakers. You know what I'm saying? A lot of y'all just rushed into Bobby Hemmett. You know what I'm saying? Rushed into Panic. Rushed into whoever. You know what I'm saying? Got this knowledge, did a little bippity boppity boop, saw some shit manifest, right? And still are unhappy. Still are triggered by bullshit. Still don't have good relationships with people in your life. Still can't buy a motherfucking a sea moss. Still broke. Still hating. But you know how to do all the bippity bop and boop in the world. You know how to create the magic wand. You know how to create the sigil. You know how to motherfucking, you know what I'm saying, know where all the ley lines are. You know how to decode every movie and every series in the universe. And you are sitting at home before you go to bed sad as fuck. You are waking up sad as fuck and depressed. I've been there, so I know. I'm speaking from experience. In fact, I'm supposed to be depressed now because it's the winter time. I'm supposed to be suffering from SADS, seasonal affective disorder, so that during the winter when I get less light, because I am so low, so when I get less light from the actual sun out there, I'm supposed to be depressed. But I've learned to take vitamin D and do the work out, so that I can feel better, improve my health during, my mental health during the winter, and things like that. Heart chakra, doing shit. Heart on the scale, doing shit. But my feather is tapped into my imagination in the mornings. How I program myself in the morning, that's my feather, my right brain. How I program myself in the morning, how I visualize my day. At night, what I listen to at night, how I program myself at night, how I go into the astral world when I meditate at night, how I go into the astral world, the things I program before I go into the astral world. And those things usually carry me throughout the day. And then what you start to see is coincidences. And coincidences are nothing but confirmations. The more coincidences you see, the more confirmations you see. No matter what you are getting in life, be grateful for it. That's Christ consciousness. Do you know Even if whatever you believe about the story, right? Whether you think it's fake, whether you think it's real, blah 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 blah, right? One motherfucking thing's for sure: it's hella influential, right? So that mythos is highly powerful. But the story and these stories and these prophets keep coming around. And who did these prophets keep looking for? These prophets kept helping the poor. They kept helping the weak. They kept helping the people, coming to the people that were oppressed. They kept coming to the people that didn't have much. They kept coming to the people who were broken, right? To revive them, right? These people very rarely, if ever, came to the rich. And you might be saying, why or how come? And the reason that in the book, when the Bible says it's harder to get through the eye of a needle than through a rich man is not what we think. The Bible is a book of spells. Most of them are Psalms. The whole Psalms is actually in Imhotep's writings. You can research that for yourself and look it up. The Psalms are mostly Imhotep's writings. And a lot of the Bible is taken from that as well. But when they say it's harder for a rich man to get through to heaven than it would be to get through an eye of a needle, or a camel to get through an eye of a needle, is because of the rich man's perception is locked into protecting his riches. It has to be. Jeff Bezos really don't have time to be watching Bobby Hemmett. Jeff Bezos really don't have time to be reading Metal Netter. Jeff Bezos don't have time to really be sitting down listening to you know what I'm saying, doing a lot of past life regression. He has a multi-million-dollar empire to run. So most of his day is focused on maintaining that empire. Sometimes the $1 billion that you think you want, you don't understand the burden that comes with it. A lot of y'all haven't been around enough rich people to really understand what it is to be around wealth and what wealth, the responsibility of wealth. A lot of y'all don't really want that responsibility the way you think you do. You don't know what it's like. You don't know if you're going to have security around you. You know what it's like to have security around you 24/7, to worry about your kids 24/7 getting kidnapped, to worry about your assistants tapping into your accounts. All these things to make sure that the people that you're around are really for you, are really genuinely for you, or they're just for you for your money. These are all the things that are going to change in your life. And there's nothing wrong with that change if you're prepared for it, and if you are still able to generate not only wealth, but generate peace of mind through whatever you go through whatever ups and downs, and through whatever changes, and through whatever transformations. And the goal is to connect to source energy so you could manifest the ultimate goal of going back to a mentor, going back into peace. Peace is not fighting back. Peace is not casting a hex on somebody even. Peace is not not standing up for yourself. All those things that I mentioned are parts of peace. So peace is not just those things. Peace is all the above. Peace is all the above, because all those things are going to, you need war sometimes in order to have peace. A lot of times there's no peace without war. That's just the way life is. Everything in the universe, including nature, is out to kill you. For real. If you didn't have a house, you were sitting out there in the woods would try to kill you. You'd probably be dead within a night or two if you don't have the right tools to survive. Everything is out to kill you. What did they say in American Gangster? Well, homeboy told Denzel. He said his success took a shot at you. What are you going to do? Become unsuccessful? Lower your vibration? Be success. You could have friends, or you could be unsuccessful, or you could have enemies. So the metaphor in that is that, just looking at it in a spiritual perspective, is that you can have the world, right? All the friends you want. And if you look at success as happiness and not be happy, and not enjoy it, not enjoy the fullest of life. And the fullness of life is really knowing that you're not going to be here forever. The fullness of life is really living for your death, living to be a legend, living to be a star. A star is nothing but a star that you see in the sky. It's nothing but a miniature sun. But you see your sun here that shines on this planet every day. The sun shines on everyone. This is I'm going to conclude this soon, but this goes to the story of Christ consciousness. This is why Christ is always depicted as the sun, or the Son of Man, because the sun shines its light on everybody. This is why Christ fucked with the poor. Christ fucked with the prostitutes. He fucked with the hoes. He fucked with the pimps. He fucked with the thieves. He fucked with the criminals, mostly, because the sun shines on everyone equally. It does not play favorites. It does not care about the good guy. It does not care about the bad guy. It still shines light on all of us. So you looking down on people for their knowledge, or you looking down on people for their money, or you looking down on people for their physical attributes is a wrong way to judge. The proper way of judgment is to weigh their heart on a scale. What type of energy are they bringing you? How does your feather feel when you're around them? How does it make your abdomen feel? How is your breathing when you're around them? And if you have to be around these people to survive, what type of energy are you generating when you're not around them so that you could escape, or you could recreate, or you could build something? There's people making thousands of dollars right now as we speak by speaking on Zoom. Literally. I mean, think about what's changed. If it's a money thing, right? It was a money thing. With the internet, honestly, and I've said this before and I say this again, even by me doing this, and shout out to everybody who's come to me for readings, shout out to everybody who's taking the Elemental Magic class. The Elemental Magic class is coming back 11/11. So I'm going to do the classes again starting on 11/11 on November 11th, 2020. So hit me up, email me, robblackstorm@gmail.com or blackstormrob@gmail.com. So forward or backwards, robblackstorm@gmail.com. The class is $101. It's over 4 weeks, and it is basically teaching you magic that is dealing with how to hack the universe according to your natal sign and your moon sign, and how to the best strategies to get what you want in the material plane and to get what you want in the etheric realm, or the material plane or the etheric plane. So to hack into that darkness, which is the etheric plane. Even if you look at Adam or the atom and Eve, right? The atom and Eve. The Eve part of Adam or the atom is the separation. When you start to see things separate, when you start to see Republican and Democrat, black and white, rich and poor, good and evil, instead of looking at things as utility, instead of looking at things as the atom, proton, neutron, and electron, and utilizing the proton when needed, utilizing the electron when needed, and utilizing the positive charge, utilizing the negative charge when needed, and staying the neutron, and staying neutral, and staying in the middle. The way you generate, this is all about electricity, electromagnetic energy. I'm just giving you different tools to hack your electromagnetic body, your electromagnetic frequency. Father, again, frontal lobe, soul, your heart, that's the sun. Holy Spirit, your gut. Your gut creates what they have called, your mood is controlled by your gut. We give the brain way too much credit, and even the third eye, the pineal gland, we give it way too much credit, even though the pineal is your first eye, because that pine cone, which is what your pineal gland looks like a pine cone, why it's called pineal, and it has a whole bunch of crystals, even though like a spaceship, right? If you think about it, it looks like a pyramidal spaceship. Pine cone. Also, if you go to episode 2 of Lovecraft Country Tidbit, you will see the pine cones all over the wall of the lodge. You'll see pine cones when they put tick to the rituals and they circle around. There's pine cones all above. Episode 2, Lovecraft Country. You'll see pine cones all above pineal gland. So the pineal gland is your spaceship that takes you to outer space. Now you know. So when you sleep, that's why melatonin is produced, because that melatonin helps you navigate through outer space, navigate through the dream world, navigate when you're going into the multiverse. So the whole goal, again, is to utilize. So again, father, frontal lobe, activated corpus callosum. So you're able to make this. Your frontal lobe, or the father, is you making decisions. You going left, you going right. I'm gonna fuck off my day. And there's some days where you fuck off. Everything in balance. But even if you fuck off your day, you should still, and fuck off, I mean, you're not doing shit. You're maybe watching Netflix, right? Kicked up, eating nachos or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Just chilling, relaxing that day. You know what I'm saying? But you should still, during that day, find sparks of energy that are going to bring you to a place of peace, to a place of happiness, to a place of bliss on a day-to-day basis. And this is gaining knowledge, of course. This is gaining information. This is being around people that can help you grow, trying to be the dumbest person in the room so that you can learn from the people that you are around. Trying to be in environments, epigenetics, right? So that your DNA can sync to your environment, and your perception of your environment can alter your DNA or alter your genetic makeup. So you could change your plasma, your blood plasma. This is different. These are just different, techniques of being at peace. When you have knowledge should not be a burden. It should not be something that makes you more stressed out. I remember, going through in the 90s and learning about conspiracy theories and reading all these books. There wasn't really the internet like that in the late 90s. So reading a whole bunch of books, Leviathan 666 and Behold the Pale Horse and The Unseen Hand, and, on and on and on. And just reading these books and trying to figure out the source of everything, trying to figure out all the conspiracies, trying to decode every conspiracy, try to uncover all the secrets of the government, the Illuminati, and the Trilateral Commission and all that. And then I realized, I came to a point where, and don't get me wrong, I still love a good decode. I still love to see a conspiracy, just being a natural decoder. I see conspiracies and everything. And I see when I'm being conspired, or when, we, humanity, or we Black people, melanated people, are being conspired on through the media and through other means. But seeing these things, damn, I lost my thought. Anyway, that means I'm talking too much. I lost my thought. So let me go back to something else. So going back to your gut, the Holy Spirit, right? That is a microbial field. Your gut controls your mood. So your mood is determined by your heart, determines by your sun, what you are bringing in, what you are giving light to, what you are giving life to, what you are focusing on. These 5 senses are here just so you can interpret this physical reality that you're in. But that's it. You're really not here, so to speak. This is just an avatar capturing your senses for what you are in the nebula, what you are in the star system, what you are before you become a star, or you get recycled back into humanity to learn the lesson again. Right? You come back and go through reincarnation and come back, or that nebula turns into a star and you're able to create your own star system. So yes, when you die, you do go back into a black hole. Panic is right about that. And also Judy K. King is right about that. You do go into a black hole. But the black hole is already in you. It's within your DNA. The phage lambda and all that's in your DNA. All that is your Ptah. If you look at the hieroglyph of Ptah, matter of fact, write this down. Don't believe me. Google Ptah, P-T-A-H. Google Ptah, Google the hieroglyph of Ptah, and then Google DNA, the DNA strand. You'll see it's the same motherfucking thing, right? It's the same as the American Medical Association logo. It's that same double kundalini. It's the same DNA strand, the same thing. So our ancestors already have the answers. It's all about your electromagnetic being generating energy, and that Christ consciousness is about, again, for the people that are late. Yeah, the cross, corpus callosum, left and right brain, activating that, giving it light, giving it life on a consistent day-to-day basis through repetition, putting your mind through the appropriate trauma, meaning that you are constantly elevating it, which means you are able to go through and overcome different challenges, right? That's bearing your cross, so to speak. So you're able to go through different challenges and still use the left and the right brain in order to form a neural pathway for your success and for your peace of mind. So yeah, repetition, the appropriate trauma, and the last thing is hypnosis, meditation, going in trance, using your daydreams, using nature, things that put you in trance, using binaural beats, using, like you hear in the background, using binaural beats, using isochronic tones, putting yourself in hypnotic trances, using your 15 minutes before bed and 15 minutes in the morning in order to program your reality, using that theta wave that you had when you were from 7 years old till 0. When you came out the room, using that theta wave. So hacking that theta wave and using it to your advantage. Hacking theta waves during different times of the day and using it to your advantage. Gamma waves for high thought, different times of the day. Different things like that. Hacking into this wave form, getting into that hydro or that watery substance that you are, and transforming yourself. So Christ consciousness is about activating, again, those realms of the brain, getting the fuel through your microbial orbit. Your microbial orbit is basically, when you walk, you all have microbes all around you, microscopic organisms. But you have a microbial orbit that's generated from your gut. Your gut is where your moods come from. I think I was on this before and I got distracted. But the gut is where your mood is generated. You can read any science textbook. They talk about the gut mitochondria, how it corresponds with your mood. So the fuel that you get from the environment that controls your abdomen, that movement that's either stress or relaxing, is going to determine the fuel that you have, that you get from your environment. Also, the fuel that you eat in your mouth is going to affect your gut mitochondria. So it is not just one-sided where it's the food that you eat. No, it's the food that you physically digest and the food that you mentally digest. All these things control the gut, but all these things require you to pay attention. So what are you paying attention to during the day? Are you paying attention to your passions? Are you paying attention to the things that you love? Are you paying attention to the things that are going to make you money, the things that are going to make you successful, the things that are going to make you happy, the things that are going to put you in states of peace, the things that are going to help you through your difficulties, the things that are going to help you overcome your difficulties? Because if there's one thing, about people, even the people that you consider successful, these people all follow their passions, and these people all serve in some way, shape, or fashion. Jay-Z serves by selling music. Kanye serves by selling Yeezys. Versace serves by selling Versace clothing, right? Balenciaga by selling shoes and clothing and perfume, like so on and so forth. They all are wealthy via serving. Even on the left-hand path, you could talk about Lockheed Martin, developing missiles and weaponry for the military. That's a way of serving. They're creating some of that serving, even just, if that's their path, that's the purpose. So everyone has their purpose here on earth. Everyone's not meant to become a star. Everyone's not meant to die and become a star. because being a star, remember the sun is a star. Our sun is a star, just a big ass star. So you have the opportunity when you pass, when you transform and leave this avatar body in 100 or so years, or with the transhumanism, with our body being linked with cybernetics, who knows how long we'll live. But you have the opportunity when you actually leave this planet to never come back and create your own universe and have little human babies like us, and create your own different type of reality, however you want it. Look up how many galaxies there are. Google that. Google how many galaxies there are in the universe. Billions. Over 300 billion feet. And that's just an estimate. 300 billion. Billion. So who knows how many more there's really out there? The universe is infinite, is it not? Did the Kabbalion not tell us that all is mental? So if all is mental, why is it that my download, which people are going to steal and share, I don't care if you steal it, you can steal it. But if the universe is mental, then why is it that when you sleep, you're not going to astral traveling through outer space? Or you're not astral traveling through the universe? Or when you're in the darkness, you don't have access to these different ancestors, which are in outer space, which are themselves stars. Because remember, what the universe is, what we are in right now, 99.8% of the universe is invisible. We cannot see with the naked eye. We can't see it. We can't see it. So that's why it's very important, study the Memphite theology, because you'll really understand, like it just makes sense that everything came from Amenta. Everything came from Amenta's outer space, darkness or dark matter. Ptah is hydrogen, which they said, if you study science, they say hydrogen, the Big Bang. Ptah, hydrogen, water. Plasma, the hydra, plasma, Ptah, plasma, same sound, right? Ptah, creation, right? So Ptah came out of Amenta as the mound, as the pyramid. And the next step of the Memphite theology is, after that mound, a tomb was on the mound, or the atom, or what is the building block of man, the atom. And you could consider the Amenta the quantum world. Also, if you want to look at outer space as the quantum world, or the darkness of space, the quantum world. And you could look at Ptah as outer space, a representation of outer space, first creation, right? And look at the atom as everything out of that first creation, out of that first Ptah, that first breath, or that first water, that first extension of the creator itself. And from Adam to Adam, right, came man. So, and that's the atom cellular division, right? So now we have all these little humans. So that's the creation, that's the Kemetic creation process. But the creative process is still replicated in you. And I'm gonna close with this, because I'm already been talking for an hour and 30 minutes with no slides. So I'm inspired. Oh, I'm channeling, I should say. Ptah emerged on the Ben stone. Yes, yeah, as the phoenix, correct. Damn, I lost my thought. Oh no, so again, Amenta is the mind, the darkness of the mind. When you close your eyes and go to sleep, when you close your eyes and meditate, when you are in meditative trance, when you are disconnected from this world, when you are in waking trance, which you call daydreaming, you are literally within Amenta. You don't know it, but you are. You're within Amenta, you're within the darkness of dark matter and dark energy, the darkness of space. Ptah is you putting forth the energy, putting forth the energy or the will to become a god, or to become great, or to become powerful. You putting that energy forth. And the atom is a representation of your manifestation from actually putting that energy out there, to actually want to grab hold of something, to actually want to become a god, to become powerful. And the atom is also a representation of peace, the union of opposites, the union of opposites, which is Tahuti. Which is Ma'at. The human, the union of opposites. We all come from a Ma'at. We all come from a mother. We all come from a mother, right? A Ma'am, a Ma'at, a Ma'am, right? A mother. So so that's where that comes from. Dark Ma'ater, right? So Ma'at is in that as well. And we're coming into the atom is created, right? The atom is created. The atom is the union of negatives, the union of the balance in the universe, the positive and negative, the law of polarity, as above, so below. And we're trying to get to the point where, on this path, is where we're able to use polarity to our benefit. So it's not about being a goody two shoes. It's not about being a black, well, I won't say black because that means it's negative, but it's not about being a goody two shoes, and it's not about being a bad guy either. It's about learning when to be a bad guy and learning when to be a goody two shoes. It's about learning when to defend yourself, when to go and fight or flight, and when to go and rest and digest. But as a human, you have the choice to choose which one. And you shouldn't let the environment dictate which choice you choose, because that is not godly. That is you being a sheep. And the computer is designed to put you in sheep herd mentality. It's designed to group everybody together to think one thought. It's designed to group everybody together in one mass. It's designed to make everybody monolithic, to where no one has their own individuality, no one has their own opinion, no one is thinking outside the box. Excuse me. No one is thinking outside the box. That is the job. Of energy vampires. The nation of the gods on earth call them bloodsuckers of the poor. Bloodsuckers of the poor. Remember, Christ came to help the poor. But the bloodsuckers, the vampires. It's also a reason why zombie movies are so popular and zombie shows are so popular today. Because most people are zombies. Most people are the walking dead, literally. The people you work with, the people that are your neighbors, the people that you're around. Look at what happened when quarantine. Look how quick people were willing to fall in line and put on the mask. If you would have told these niggas that I'm gonna shoot you in the ass, you got to put a heart tattoo on your ass in order to not get coronavirus in March, motherfuckers would have ran outside and been on huge lines to get a heart tattoo on their ass in March. That's how gullible everyone was at that point. Men were so quick to listen to Dr. Fauci. The computer. People don't think for themselves. People are just being programmed like computers. They're being programmed just like agents in the Matrix. They're just like agents in the Matrix. And the goal is for you to dip in the Matrix, use the Matrix just like Neo and Trinity and Morpheus did. Use the Matrix to your benefit and step out and do the real work of growing. And part of growth also, and part of Christ consciousness, is also healing your trauma, going through the chakra system, going through those different levels of the chakra system that you feel weak at. And only you can answer that yourself. And part of your programs at night and in the morning are addressing different parts of that chakra system that you are weak in on a repetitious basis, not just one night, not just 2 nights, especially now. Now is a perfect time to even hear this message, because we're in still a waxing moon state, and we're going into a full moon on Friday, full moon in Scorpio. So this full moon Halloween, come on now, the spirits are going to be out. The angels and the demons are going to be out to play. Okay? I'm not scared of nightmares. I'm not scared of demons. I'm not scared of dark, spooky things that look ugly and evil in the night, because I know and understand that ancestors are not pretty, or not in this physical form that looks pretty and pleasing to us. Ancestors could look like anything. That's why Lovecraft Country was so dope, because even those particular beasts that were in the woods are representations of ancestors. I believe they're called the Shiggoth or something like that. But those are representation of ancestors. If you look at their bodies, they have many eyes on them, like stars in the sky. They're dark, right? And they're like stars in the sky. They also have legs, hands, but they also have middle hands. If you look at those Shiggoths, right, those beasts in Lovecraft Country, they also have those middle arms representing the heart chakra as well. So it's just a representation of who you really are. So focus more on your feelings on a day-to-day basis. Focus on feeling good, and not feeling good like getting high and drugged out and being a fucking couch potato and watching Netflix all day and bullshitting all day. But feeling good is really living your purpose. I can tell you that. Feeling good is really living your purpose. Feeling good is really walking the path that you're supposed to be on. Feeling good is really becoming your divine self. Feeling good is really getting these downloads from spirit, man. Avoiding shit that people get into because spirit told you. Because you put in the work, because you're actually living the lifestyle, because you're actually uh, 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 going about your day, actually honoring your ancestors by tapping into that dark matter, which is your ancestral realm, and utilizing it for your benefit, right? And also utilizing it for others' benefits, son of man, because the sun shines on everyone. But that may not be your purpose. Everyone's purpose is not that. My purpose is to help raise the vibration on the planet. And I believe my quest is Christ-like. Because I really don't want no problems with nobody. I'll solve them if they come, because I know, again, the world is out to get me. And I know as the Christ, that is the cross that I bury. That is the cross that I carry to overcome burdens, to activate the left and the right brain, and have the neurons connect to activate this corpus callosum, so I can make the right decisions. And I could get information from the astral realm via my electromagnetic field that is connected to the environment and the universe, and I can magnetically pull things in that are going to protect me. But I know that the world is not a fair place, and I have to be prepared for war. But I am at peace in war, or at peace in peace. And don't get me wrong, we all get stressed out. We all have bad times and bad days. And that's where Soul Tribe comes in. That's where having people around that support you, people around that love you, people around that are committed to helping you grow and develop is necessary. Because when you have those bad days, that's where the tribe comes in. That's another source of energy. This is an energy game. This whole universe is an energy grabbing game. Even magic. What did Christina say in Lovecraft Country? Energy, right? Intention, blood in the body. What is blood but your hydrogen, your water, the water that's in your body? So once your blood starts to boil, your blood could boil in the direction of you charging your energy for your manifestations, you charging your energy to be at peace, you charging your energy to overcome your circumstance, you charging your energy to heal yourself, you charging your energy to create affirmations, create visualizations, and start walking around if you're not fit, or start, join whatever, eating different, whatever it is that you need to improve on, speaking up more, start, getting in less gossip, maybe watching less reality TV, whatever you need to do to improve your character and become much more efficient in following your purpose, because it's about your purpose, no one else's purpose. Everyone has their own individual purpose. Following your passion, and whatever that passion is, and doing it to the best of your ability, and showing others how to do it as well if you can, and also giving back, giving energy, helping others, being a son of man. So What is your I am? What is your I am? That's going to lead to your Christ consciousness. That's going to lead to you, how you fight the computer. Or are you going to be swayed by the computer? That's the one you have to make that decision. And that's on a day-to-day basis. The computer's here, the internet's here. Even if you don't watch TV, you're watching YouTube, you're being programmed. There's programs coming at you. Even if you get out of all social media sites and all you do is watch YouTube, programs are coming at you. Even if you don't watch nothing in TV, there's programs coming at you through billboards when you drive on the highway, billboards when you go into a store, advertisements. There's always programs coming at you. People that want to tell you what you can't do, what you can do, what you should do, or what you shouldn't do, how you should live your life, how you shouldn't live your life. There's always programs coming at you. But if you have your own program that you're running on a day-to-day basis, again, repetition, going through, overcoming and figuring out how to overcome obstacles, right? Self-trauma, overcoming trauma, childhood trauma as well, overcoming that obstacle that might be holding you back. Again, activating it, bearing your cross, trauma, right? Repetition, trauma, and also hypnosis, doing things like meditating, doing things like going in nature, doing things like utilizing the daydreams that you have and control your thoughts. They say 70% of the thoughts, this is what science says, 70% of the thoughts that we think are negative. But I reject that now. I know at one point it was, but not anymore. I've successfully put in the 10,000 hours to program myself to think positive, even in negative situations. And if you look at my timeline, if you've looked at my timeline and you look at the videos that I've dropped, you see that I have gone through ups and downs, and I've still been persevering about and even sharing how you guys could get out of your own problems, right? So I've been sharing my life as well, even when I've been going through it, still staying focused, still staying on task. And when I'm really, really down, or reaching out to my spirit team, not only the ancestors, using both hemispheres, using both angles, using my ancestors, using my altar, going through that, doing direct required rituals to help speed things up, and also going to people that I can trust and that I could depend on, and that will give me an ear and give me wise counsel, and won't give me just things that I need to hear, tell me the truth. But the reason that they're able to do that for me is because I'm able to do that for them. Okay? So it's the law of cause and effect. Kabbalion. Every cause has an effect, and every effect has its cause. Okay? So, law of polarity. Everything has a polar opposite. So, the Kabbalion, a lot of it is strictly about exchanging energy. This world is a push-pull world. It's an exchange, an inhale, exhale. There's an exchange of energy all the time. You're exchanging energy with plants every second of the day. In order to gain oxygen, you need to get that from the plant, or you die. So there's an exchange of energy every day. So when you walk past bums or quote-unquote homeless and you feel like, oh, I can't give them $1, or you see people that are down and you want to shit on them and you want to make memes about them and you just want to dump on them, that's a reflection of you. That's the energy that you choose to exchange when you're on social media. And as soon as somebody gets shot by the police, you're the first person to share it. That's an energy exchange. That's you. Nobody did that but you. When there's a negative, a negative headline, you're the first person to go out there and share it. That's a reflection of you, what you're pulling in, what you're interested in. The computer's giving you that, but you have the choice, the cross to bear, to say, am I in this world or not in this world? Christ's resurrection in 3 days is about you being able to program yourself and change your behavior. There's a video, I believe, by Dr. Bruce Lipton, and he talks about changing your behavior in 72 hours, which is 3 days, by hacking the brain, by hacking theta wave states. And yes, there's weaponry out there, mental weaponry, where they have the ability to basically manipulate your manipulate your consciousness through brainwaves. But guess what? No one's want to manipulate your consciousness through light and brainwaves. It can be done. Your brain can be hacked into because they know what they're doing. But your electromagnetic field is going to protect you. Your aura is going to protect you. Your microbial field will protect you. These things will protect you if you are constantly on a repetitious basis activating these things. All right. So I've been talking for a while. Shout out to everybody who's been staying with me. Shout out to everybody who is here. If you are here, please hit the like button. I think I'm gonna take some questions. I'll make this a 2-hour video. So there's 10 minutes. I'll take some questions. I feel like I've been rambling and I haven't really paid attention to the chat. So anybody has any questions, you can drop them. But that's Christ. But in a nutshell, that's Christ consciousness. Christ consciousness is a willingness to do the work. It's a willingness to do the work of change. It's a willingness to not only visualize, but take action in changing and transforming your life and taking risk. Part of bearing that cross is taking risk, stepping into the unknown, having faith. I know you heard that in church and you discarded faith. But if you light a candle and put some motherfucking herbs on it and put a piece of paper with some words under the candle, is that not faith? But let me see if y'all got some practice or some questions. Please hit that like button, subscribe. If I did help you, also you can hit that super chat. You know what I'm saying? Get my donate $ Rod Blackstorm 7 on Cash App. But drop some questions. I got 9 minutes if y'all got some questions. Those of y'all that are still up with me. Questions? Anybody? Anything? I know it's late. A lot of y'all about to go into inner space or outer space. Okay, good. In your opinion, what's the difference between New Age and spirituality? Great, Quesley Leslie. And thank you too for the donation. I appreciate it. So New Age is basically, what they're saying is they're taking from our ancestors and saying that this is something new. That spirituality, wearing crystals, having altars, making sigils, creating pentacles, meditation, yoga, all these things are new. All these things are new. I'm gonna get to your question about the class, so I don't want to lose my thought. All these things are considered New Age, but New Age to who? This is in my DNA. This is in my ancestors' DNA. This is in my DNA. This is in your DNA. This is something that so-called Africans have been doing for millennia, millions, thousands upon thousands of years. So it's not New Age to us. But it's New Age to them. So that's what they're talking about when they say New Age. Now, spirituality can be anything. You could be Christian and can be considered spiritual. You could be Muslim, considered spiritual. Judaism, which is the Abrahamic religions, spiritual. You could just be a Hindu and be spiritual. So to me, that's what I consider what people would more so consider spirituality, traditional religion, being involved in religion. And they would consider New Age even something like voodoo or magic or leukemia or Yoruba, things like that would be considered New Age. That would be considered New Age, but it's not new to us. Like we've been known about, New Age is like binaural beats and isochronic tones. This is shit we've been doing forever. You know what I'm saying? Forever, ever. In fact, there's a science of I forgot the name of the science. But the science of sound. You want to understand how the pyramids were built. I can't remember the name of it right now, but there's the science of sound where basically you could study sound is able to move objects. Damn, I hate that I don't remember the name right now. But sound can move objects. And as far as shit. See, I'm still trying to remember. The sound can move objects. So if you want to understand how the pyramids were made, study sound. Study the science of sound, and you'll understand how the pyramids were made and how these temples were erected with no cranes, no motherfucking hard hats or anything like that. Nothing. No bulldozers. Nothing. Just a whole bunch of niggas. So yeah, these things. So all these things will be considered New Age, but these things have been done since the Congo, right? Done since the Congo, since the first bones were found, in Mount Kilimanjaro. These things have been done since then, since the Twa people were around. We've been engaged in studying the stars and working with crystals and harnessing energy and utilizing energy and things like that. So spirituality would be, to me, spirituality is more traditional religion. To sign up for the class, email me at robblackstorm@gmail.com. The class will be on November 11th, Elemental Magic class. I'm also adding a couple books. So if you took it the first time, you could email me again and I'll send you the books, because I didn't give you the books last class. Some of you I have, but I have a couple of books that you should get. That'll be a supplement to the class. I get nothing for it. It's just stuff that you can get on your own that'll supplement you and help you utilize the stuff that deals with the class. Stuff you can order on Amazon. But yeah, the class is going to start at 11/11. I'll have PDFs of certain books that you should get for the class. But I always think it's better to get the actual physical copy of the book, because there's energy in words. There's energy in words. Words have a sound waves. So there's energy in reading words. So a book together is just a bundle of energy. So even having these books in your home, it's always better to have the book than to have an actual PDF that you're reading on a motherfucking computer screen. These computer screens aren't really great for your eyes anyway, as it is. The more you look at these screens, the worse it is on your eyes, because of the pixelation and how your eyes have to focus in on the actual screen. Oh, that's my cue. The music is changing. So yeah, you can email me at robblackstorm@gmail.com or blackstormrob@gmail.com. And yeah, either Rob Blackstorm or blackstormrob@gmail.com. The class is $101. We're going to start on 11/11. Hopefully I get enough people in there so we can all do it at once on Zoom. But if not, it'll be one-on-one with Zoom. But yeah, we're going to go in. And it'll be highly beneficial. Also, you can hit me up for readings at any time. You can hit me up for spell work. Same emails. Let me know. You can also hit me up on the gram or on Facebook. Same Rob Blackstorm. But the best ways to reach me is via email. robblackstorm@gmail.com or blackstormrob@gmail.com. Any more questions? Anything else? Thank you, peace and love. Start what it is. Next, this. What's going on, Drea? T. Y'all rolling with me late night. T. Priestess, Drake. Okay, these are the people. All right. Y'all rolling. Please hit that like button if you still are here. Any other questions? Y'all got two more of my valuable minutes. Then I'm going to outer space in the nebula. Nebula kind of looks like something like this above me. A big mass. Okay. Okay, can prayer and spell work both at the same level of manifestation? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. Again, the whole thing is about feeling. The whole thing is about feeling. So there's times that your grandma prayed and got the bills paid. Something came through, right? She prayed to Jesus and got the bills paid, and something came through. It happens. You know what I'm saying? Well, let me say this. Do they both hit the same level of manifestation? A prayer is less effective than you actually doing spell work. And here's why. When you're doing spell work, usually it involves candles. Candles are automatically invoking 4 elements, which are naturally in the environment: fire, air, earth, and water. I've talked about the candle so many times, so I don't feel like breaking it down. But the candle has 4 elements. Also, when you're doing a spell properly, there's certain herbs that you're using, certain herb combinations. 935 in Cali. Oh yeah, it's Cali. That's right. I got the Cali crowd. I forgot. So you're using the candles first and foremost. Also, if you're doing a spell properly, there's herbal combinations. You know what I'm saying? For instance, you're working with Oshun or Het Haru, you might need oranges, right? You might need steel for Ogun, or working with Harukuti. If you're working with Haru, you know what I'm saying, you might want some sun symbols around you, you know what I'm saying? Falcon, different, there's different things. Some spells require cat hair, different, depending on how deep you get into spell work. So these are actual combinations, mathematical formulas that are designed and have been designed since antiquity, since the first so-called midget, or the first pygmy, or the first twa person, which is what a pygmy is, or what you call a midget nowadays, or a little person, which was the first man. But since the first man or woman they were doing these combinations in order to make things happen, directly downloaded from source energy, from the halls of momentum. So you are able to manifest things much more effectively. And also, when you're doing spell work proper spell work, you're working with lunar cycles. So you're working with waxing moons, you're working with waning moons, you're doing what's most effective for lunar cycles. Most effective time for spell work should be around new moons and full moons. Any type of spell work, new moons, full moons, stick to lunar cycles. Your most effective time for programming is new moons and full moons. There's sometimes during a full moon also where your energy is so high that you kind of need to ground a little bit. So you need to also engage in grounding. That's part of the balance, right? But it's still about energy. It's still about energy transference. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to get so high frequency that you're just jittered out. You know what I'm saying? You want to use high frequency when you need to raise the frequency, and when you need to, again, relax. You need to lower the frequency, right? It's about manipulating the frequency, using energy to your advantage. That's why I said you could be walking this path, right? You could be walking this path and have no problem. Well, I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that here. But you could be walking this path, but you have, put it this way, you walk in this path, but you have no problem with hexing somebody. People who truly walk this path, right? But they also know that there's a scale. There's a scale even when you're hexing somebody. So if you're just hexing somebody, let's say because they cut you off in traffic, or your neighbor, stole your mother, you came to park and your neighbor stole the parking spot, right? Hexing somebody for that is, there's a price to pay, because you're putting around a certain amount of energy, right? So energy doesn't die. It just changes shape or form. So energy, there is a law, you know what I'm saying? Law as above, so below. The law of cause and effect. Every cause has an effect, and every effect has a cause. So there's a balancing act. There's that scale that still has to be balanced. So you throw that energy out. If it's unjust, if that energy is not meant to be balanced, it's like putting oil and water. They don't mix. No matter how much you try to make oil and water mix, they don't mix, right? They don't mix. If there is no such thing as consequences for what you do, then please get a cup of bleach. And I'm not, recommending this. I'm not a doctor, but I'm just saying, if you're foolish enough to get a cup of bleach and drink it and see if there is no cause and effect. So every cause has an effect. But if you're doing things, somebody's constantly fucking with you. Somebody's constantly doing some shit to you. So there's no way you could get them physically, because if you get your hands around them, you're gonna go fucking jail, right? Yeah, you could hit them from the astral realm, hit them from Amenta, hit them from the darkness, hit them from the same realm that you go to sleep at, and some of y'all have nightmares. The same realm that's from. Tap them with that. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with that. But the average spiritual person, or the average person that has been bred in the society to think that it's all about being good, right? You don't understand the animal kingdom even, really, because there's no good and bad in the animal kingdom. A lion doesn't say, "Oh, sheep, they're so pretty, let me not eat them." You know what I'm saying? That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. I heard Bobby Hemmett say the government is hoarding $4 billion in gold that belongs to indigenous Black Americans. Thoughts? Good question. Yeah, the universe, shit, the universe belongs to you. So all the abundance on earth belongs to you. All the abundance on earth belongs to you, no matter your race, creed, color, or nationality. It all belongs to you if you really want it. That includes health, that includes wealth, that includes well-being. So the $4 trillion that he's talking about, I've heard of that. That is owed to Black Americans. But the big thing is not knowing that it's there, not having the knowledge that it's there, is how are you going to get it? How are you going to get it? That's what I'm more focused on. How are we going to get it? I'm down for that plan. You know what I'm saying? I'm down for that plan. I'm down to help create that plan. I'm down to align with that plan. But that's not my purpose. But I'm down to support that plan financially. I'm down to support that plan with my time and my platforms. You know what I'm saying? So the fact, and that's, again, this is why purpose is so important. The fact that you're even interested in that is dope. You know what I'm saying? So your quest, or your passion, if this is something you're passionate about, would be to see how to solve that problem. It will be how to solve that problem. How can we get that money into our pockets? How can we get reparations? What type of magic, heart chakra again, left brain, what type of magic can we do as a collective in order to make this happen? What type of recipe do we need to do in order to make this happen? And I got a Facebook group coming soon. I also have my website. It's already created. I just have to finish the blogs, and I've been going crazy this weekend, but website's coming very soon. Very, very soon, like this week. So look out for that. There'll be memberships and all that. And we're going to start memberships and have different things where we're doing rituals, because I realize as a collective, we need that. And that's just part of my responsibility. So I have to step into that role. But yeah, we're going to have group rituals, and we're going to target different things like that specifically, right? And different times of the day, which I won't say here, but we're going to target things, different cycles, different times of the day, literally the same way our quote unquote enemies do. We're going to bite their shit. You know what I'm saying? And I know how to do it. So we're going to bite their shit and hack their shit as a collective and start seeing these things manifest. So that's my goal. There's plenty of people here on YouTube, King or Queen, whoever asked that question, is that are going to give you all the facts of all the dates and all the instances in history, all the different things that could go wrong. My job is to tell you that ain't nothing wrong unless you perceive it as being wrong. Ain't nothing wrong with you if what you perceive as being wrong. On the Kabbalistic tree of life, they have what they call Tiferet, right? And Tiferet represents beauty. And I remember talking to somebody that was heavily into Kabbalah one day, and I was like, "It's just beauty? Like that's it?" And he was like, "Yeah, it's beauty. It represents beauty, things that are beautiful, nature." And he's telling me about all the, art and all the beautiful shit in the world, pretty dresses and, foliage in the spring and in the fall and, all birds and shit, all this beautiful shit, right? I was like, to someone in this world, a child is beautiful to them, but a naked child in a perverse way is beautiful to them, right? Looking at a child, people that are pedophiles, a child is beautiful to a pedophile. They see beauty in that. Even though it's perversion and it's lustful, they see beauty in that. So to me, beauty is about your perception, right? And that was my challenge to him when I talked to him about that. I was like, so isn't it really about perception then? And yeah, and we had this discussion, you know what I'm saying, that went further on. But it's about your perception, how you perceive things in life. What is your perception of what you're going through? If you think you're gonna make it, you're gonna make it. I've had dark days, and then I've had great days. You know what I'm saying? I've had dark days like anybody else, and then I've had great days. But my greatest days are when my perception of my days being great, my perception of things going good. Even when they're bad, my perception of things changing because I know there's a law of rhythm. So what goes down must go up. And if I'm down, shit, the only place to go is up. If I'm down at the bottom, the only place to go is up. I never look at it like, oh, I could go further down. Never. But I've heard people say that. People that I cared about and care about tell me this. Like, oh, it could get worse. But that's their perception. And that's how they live their life. That's how they choose to live it. That's their heart chakra, what they choose to engage in. Everybody has a choice to make, you know? Everybody has a choice to make on how they want to live their life, on how they want to engage with magic. That's why there's certain things that I will never teach on YouTube. That's why there's certain things I only reserve for my class and only reserve for people in class. Because even though it is on YouTube, even though it is in separate points, right? But I specifically in the class give you ways to target different things in yourself and harness the elements. But there's certain things that are not for everybody. Because with great power, as Spider-Man says, with great power comes great responsibility. And some people just don't know how to have great power. So you see somebody, you know what I'm saying, who's actually doing the work, who's actually engaged in this lifestyle and not just using it as a religion, but using it as an actually lifestyle. This middle path is not a religion. You know what I'm saying? This is a lifestyle. This is a way of life. And you have to figure out how you are going to, you're responsible for it. There's no God, there's no Jesus, there's no guru, there's no teacher, there's no master, there's no minister. You're responsible for it. It's very entrepreneurial. And a lot of people just want to follow. And there's nothing wrong with following. Because everybody can't be bosses, everybody can't be leaders. But you should be following people that make you want to become the best you. Your teacher should be telling you how to fish, not telling you where you could buy fish. Not just telling you how you could buy fish from his store in order to get fed. They should be telling you how to fish. Not just telling you, oh, the fish is out there. The fish is out there. You just got to look for it. No. Where do I go? Give me specific directions. So teach people how to fish. Yes, there should be a respect towards the power of magic. I agree with that as well. There should be a respect towards the power of magic. But how it is nowadays, when I grew up in the 90s and shit like that, that's why it took me so long to come on YouTube, because I didn't. This was a secret society for us. Like, all we asked is trust, for real. Like, the people that I knew that knew these things, it wasn't like now. People weren't talking about chakras and kundalini and dark matter and hexes and doing spells or in public. That shit wasn't public. That shit was super secret. Like, even talking about it, you might get laughed. You might get roasted every day, wearing crystals and shit to work and shit like that. Onks and talking about you're a witch and shit like that. You talk about you was a witch in 1994, people would have laughed you to death in the hood. They'll laugh you to death now, but it's more acceptable because celebrities are into it. But in 1994, 95, you have to have some real strong cojones to be running around the hood talking about you a witch. You know what I'm saying? They would have either laughed you to death or, you know, so it's much more open now. It's much more open now. People are revealing a lot more. But you could fuck somebody up because this magic thing is about being responsible. You could fuck yourself up. But I hear some of these teachers online and they're saying these same things over and over. I'm like, yo, is this what you're labeling yourself? Like, really? You're labeling yourself this? So this is what you want to invite into your home. Be very careful of what you call yourself. Be very careful of what you label yourself. Be very careful, because you attract what you say you are, you will attract that. So if you say you're a savage, you're going to attract savage shit on a continuous basis. If you say you're a ratchet, you're going to say it, you're going to be ratchet, and you're going to attract ratchet shit on a continuous basis. This is what you say you are. I am. That's the I am principle. So this is what you say you are. This is the book of names that Titus Braithwaite had. Remember in episode 2, I believe it was, in Lovecraft Country, I'm talking about, Titus Braithwaite said that he was, the book of names was designed so that Adam could name all the animals. So it was about labeling yourself who you are. It was about casting spells. That's what casting spells ultimately are. That's what casting spells ultimately are. I saw a comment. Right, and some people find themselves in things like, yeah, exactly. Now, you don't want to be cast. Yeah, you don't want to engage in these type of things, and you don't respect the game because you mad at your baby daddy, and you try to hex him and shit like that. Then 2 days later, you get back with him, and you sleep with him, and you slept on the same hex. You done slept with the hex. What you think that does to you? What type of energy you think that gets you in the long run? Energy has a way of remembering, right? There's formulas to attract energy. Energy has a way of remembering. So you gotta, she's right. You gotta respect magic. You gotta respect what you're doing. And you gotta realize that. And I'm not talking about karma, some, dumbass karma where people just say, oh, be good and good. No, because there's times when you gotta be bad. Times you gotta be bad with bad. There's times you gotta be fire with fire. You know what I'm saying? In the Bible, every time motherfuckers fuck with God, God fucked them up. Every time. Every time. You know how many wars were fought for God in the Bible? Gilead and all them? Going to war in the Bible? The Bible is full of wars. Full of war. So it's uncanny how the brainwash, how they brainwash us from, it's like Ghostface said, the devil gave us fear. The devil, what they said, the devil put fear inside the black babies. 50-cent sodas and they're going crazy. The devil put fear inside the black babies. 50-cent sodas in the hood, they're going crazy. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy if you think about it. Like, God, in the Bible, in the Quran, all these holy books, God does not play no games with nobody. He'll fuck you up. But in these religions, they want you to turn the other cheek, or they want you to let go and let God. But God gave me 2 hands and feet, right? And if I can't reach you with these 2 hands and feet, the 2 hands and feet are my ritual of these demons I send at you, right? We'll do the trick. You know what I'm saying? But you got to remember, it got to be injustice. Because if it's not injustice, that shit's going to boomerang back. If you're doing something injustice, then the energy you're going to boom back to you is just justice. Think about it. If you hack somebody, think about it logically. If somebody is fucking with you, somebody slaps you, right? And you slap them back. You just returning the same energy. You're keeping the same energy. That's it. That's all you're doing if you're hexing somebody that is fucking with you. You're keeping the same energy. So it's not about being good. It's not about being bad. It's about being balanced. But let's say you hex somebody who didn't really do shit to you. It's not really something that you can't handle. It's just emotional shit. Now you're not keeping the same energy. You understand? Now you're not keeping the same energy. Especially in like spousal shit with people. That's where a lot of people come. You see people on Facebook all the time. Oh, my baby daddy cheated on me. How can I hurt him? And you see 50 women. You see 50 bitches in a rush to tell her how she could hurt her baby daddy. Well, maybe her baby daddy told her he don't want her. He's ready to move on. She is being presumptive, and he had a conversation, or whatever the situation is. Nobody knows what happens in that real house for you to be giving these rookie spells, and then the next thing you know, they fuck themselves up because they ain't justice. There's no justice. The law of cause and effect, the law of polarity, the law of rhythm. Everything exists in a cipher. The Ouroboros, snake eating his tail, everything exists in a cipher. Everything exists in a circle. A cell, your head, the universe, the galaxies exist in a cycle, exist in a spiral, even your DNA. But if you freeze it from that spin, you'll get the circle or oval, which also explains the Jesus fish, the Jesus fish. All right, y'all. I feel like I'm rambling. The point being is, guard your grill against the computer. Make sure you take in information that is fueling your passion, whether it's being the best gardener in the world, whether it's being the best janitor in the world, whether it's being the best construction person in the world. Don't be afraid to give to others because you give to yourself. Don't be afraid to give to others. When you give it to others, you give it to yourself, because we all are connected. Even through air, we're all connected. We're all breathing the same air. And it goes into the trees and gets recycled, etc., etc. So we are all connected, interconnected. One of the science would call it string theory. They were all connected via strings. And that string is really plasma, by the way. Hydrogen, the H and H2O. All right, I know when people watch this replay, they're gonna be like, what the fuck? I went many different places. But I hope it all made sense. And I hope it all makes sense to everybody, man. I pray for everyone's peace. I pray for everyone's success. We're gonna have a rough couple of months up ahead. That I tell you, that's the downloads that I got. A lot of changes, a lot of things are gonna transform in society. And you have to be ready. You have to be at the ready. You have to be at the watch. And you have to have the mental power to be able to handle and to be able to be at peace in the midst of the storm. You have to be the eye in the storm of what's coming up. The same way coronavirus hit, and some people were the eye of the storm, so people got caught in the storm. A lot of y'all got caught in the storm. Don't front. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people didn't get caught in the storm. You know, they had their eye in the storm, and they were able to cash in as well and grow themselves, their family, their businesses, their lives. You know, and I am one of those people who had my eye in the storm, did not get caught in the storm. So, you know, and even me, just following my passion, like the fact that y'all come to me with readings and come to me for classes and come to me, you know, for meditation classes and different things and different spell work and different things that I do. I didn't expect that, but that's just from me following my passion, where I'm able to make coin from this. You know what I'm saying? Get donations and stuff like that. That's for me following my passion, by me doing this. But imagine if I didn't and I kept my mouth shut. And I was scared to put my heart on the table and put my foot forward to match that energy that I was feeling. You know, none of this would be possible. So, look out for the website, guys. My West Coast crew, shout out to y'all. It's about to be 1 a.m. here in New York City. I think I'm charged up because, you know, that birthday energy or rebirth, you know, it puts you in a certain space. So I'm still charged up, but this will be a 3-hour video, and I don't want to repeat myself. But I feel like if you're gonna wind this, you got a lot of information, you got a lot of knowledge, you got a blueprint of things you could do on a day-to-day basic level. Go back and look at a lot of my old videos on scripting, on overcoming on sex magic. My next video, I'm probably going to go deep in sex magic from a head Heru level from look at that. Thank you guys for supporting the daily videos. I appreciate it. Watching the videos, I see y'all out there. I see the comments. So thank you for your participation. Thank you for your commentary. Thank you for the donations. Thank you for the love. And I think that's it. If you're here, please hit the like button. Please hit the share button. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. I think subscribing is the best for me because I go live sometimes randomly. But my lives are really popping. And my job is to take all esoteric concepts and make them as simple as possible so your child can understand, you know. And this is the way I explain it to my 11-year-old daughter when I explained to her this concept of when she dreams, she goes to space, because she looked at me like I was crazy, like a lot of y'all probably did when y'all first heard this before I broke it down. But I told her this. I said, when you close your eyes, what do you see? She said, nothing. I said, but if you close your eyes now, what do you see? I said, close your eyes. And she closed her eyes. She said, I said, it's dark, right? She said, yeah, I see darkness, black darkness. Okay. So I said, look up, and look up in the sky at night. What do you see? She said, darkness. I said, okay. So when you sleep, you're not here, right? Are you aware that you're in your body? And she said, no. I said, when you sleep, sometimes you have dreams that feel as real as when you're awake, right? She's old enough to have these dreams. She said, yeah. I said, so if these dreams feel as real as when you're awake, then why do you think you're not awake someplace else in outer space? And she thought about it, and she got it, right? And she asked me a few questions, which I won't share. But yeah, and it wasn't much after that. She was just like, so I think she said something like, I think she was talking about melanin, actually. She said something about melanin. And I was like, yeah, the fact that you have eumelanin, because it's not just melanin. It's not just melanin, it's eumelanin. There's phenomelanin, neuromelanin, and eumelanin. Everybody has neuromelanin. Everybody has phenomelanin. Phenomelanin deals with the color. Like I'm dark skinned, that's phenomelanin. You have neuromelanin, that's the melanin that powers the brain, the pineal gland, things like that, right? And you have eumelanin. Eumelanin is at the cellular level. Eumelanin is almost atomic. And that is the quick switch function that they talk about with melanin. When they talk about athletes and shit like that, like Michael Jordan could cut, LeBron could cut and shit, different quick switch functions where you need rapid response. You can't really think. You don't have time to be really plotting things out like a chess game. So, and melanin is also the solar panel that you have in your body. So the reason that when the sunlight hits your body, you're able to use that as energy. This is why our emotions, Black people, they say, are so emotional. Our emotions are so powerful. Our emotions are not supposed to be for Biden or Trump. Our emotions are not supposed to be for Ghislaine Maxwell or Jeffrey Epstein. Our emotions are not supposed to be towards the next big conspiracy or even decoding all these movies and all these series. You know what I'm saying? The reason I decode movies and series so I could understand more about me. So I could see these things if they're trying to get me through the film or the movie or the series mentally, right? If they're trying to get me first and foremost. So it's protection to see what message they're trying to send, because everything that you watch is trying to send you a message. Even these reality shows, there's a message that they're trying to send. There's a program. That's why they call programs. So I'm trying to see what the program is when I'm watching it. You looking at the signs and symbols, but also seeing how I could grow from watching this. What I could gather from it that's going to help raise my vibration and take me to the next level and put me more at peace. The whole thing about gaining this type of energy is about expanding your perception. That's about expanding your perception. The more that you tap into the spiritual work, the more that you read these books, the more that you do spell work, the more that you engage in rituals, especially on the moons and during solstices and during equinoxes. The more you engage in these different rituals, the more you break through different challenges using these magics, using first and foremost reprogramming and reformat, terraforming the mind through using your 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes of the day, your daydreams, and you specifically going to meditate. You got to meditate on this path. If you're really serious, you got to meditate. You got to learn to meditate. If you don't have a regular meditation class, I don't care how many books you have, you're not tapping into that dark matter effectively. You're not doing it as much as you can, and you're not able to, like, those meditations in the morning that I have sometimes, they set my tone for the whole day. I could wake up in a bad mood, and that 15, 20, 25 minutes of meditation is great for the whole day. And if you have kids or whatever, there's no excuse. Wake up 15, 20, 30 minutes earlier than them. Like, wake up earlier than the family. If it's crowded, go in the bathroom. You know what I'm saying? Go in the bathroom and lock the door. Take 15 minutes. Put the toilet seat down. I've done this in places. And get your meditation in. Put on some headphones and zone out. At night, you can do the same thing. Go in the bathroom or go outside. Sit somewhere. Put on your headphones and zone out. Well, everybody got a cell phone. So there's really no excuse. And there's plenty of videos on how to meditate. How many of y'all watched the past life video and did the past life exercise? Where you went into the past life and did your past life regression with Brian Weiss. So you gotta do, those of us that are on this path, the Panics and the Asheras and, you know what I'm saying, the Reds and Blues and all these people that are on this path, or that are sincere. Well, I don't even want to mention them because who knows how sincere everybody is. But those who are sincere, we're putting in the work. We're putting in the work, and it's not a it's not about ego. It's not about being better than anybody. It's about being your higher self and being better for everyone. It's about being better for everyone and taking the world to places to really be in your ancestors' wildest dream. And that somebody lights a candle for you, not only when you're in heaven, but while you're here on earth. I'm blessed enough to know I got people that light candles for me and pray for me. That's a blessing. So I know I'm protected. I never worry about hexes or curses or anything like that from none of y'all or anybody, because I know I'm protected. I know my ancestral team is strong. I've meditated and been in communion. They've showed me things and told me things. And this is why meditation is very important. All right. Peace, power, and prosperity. Rob Blackstorm. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Have a great morning, afternoon, and evening. This is the West Coast Grind. Please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that share button. I am out.